All right, hello people from the internet. Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. The time has come for me to make another non-gameplay video, and this time we're going to be talking about Cheibriados the Contemplative. Cheibriados is a god of deliberation. Those following Cheibriados travel more slowly the further they progress in their faith, and are forbidden from using any means to hasten themselves. In the process of so imitating their god, they obtain perfection of mind and body, and the mysteries of time unfold before them. Especially devout followers may even momentarily abandon the flow of time and its needless disturbances. Um, so, Cheibriados, as you can see, this is a very important line of text. Those following Cheibriados travel more slowly the further they progress in their faith, and are forbidden from using any means to hasten themselves. What does this mean? Immediately upon worship, you're gonna be 1.3 speed, assuming that you are a species that moves at 1.0 speed, like almost all of the species in the game, barring few exceptions like Spriggan, Cat, Naga, Baraki. I might be missing more, but um, you know what I'm talking about. Um, that's pretty bad. Yeah, it removes what's most consistently the most important and useful way to survive situations in crawl, which is just walking away from them. Uh, Sometimes hasting yourself and walking away from them, using swiftness and walking away from them, um, reading scrolls of blinking and walking away from them. Yes, Cheibriados slow is so severe that while at high amounts of piety, you will struggle running away from things, even after blinking from them. On the other hand, Cheibriados slow gives you a lot of stats. Once you get to 6 pips of piety with Cheibriados, it gives you plus 15 in every stat, strength, intelligence, and dexterity. So that should make you really, really strong. It should make you hit really hard, have a lot of evasion, be very strong when it comes to being a hybrid, being very good at casting spells. I think that Cheibriados is a really difficult god. However, I wouldn't really recommend this unless you know what you're doing. Powerful, but very, very difficult, very, very punishing. There's some species like cat, naga, or formicid where I would strongly recommend against going Cheibriados. Um, so yeah, that's what I can tell you about Cheibriados from my personal experience and knowledge. Let's talk about the powers. I've already talked about this. The more piety you gain, the more slow you are, up until 2.0 movement delay for a normal species. It's even worse if you're slower, like a Naga or a Baraki. Cheibriados supports your attributes. I've talked about this already. Plus 15 at 6 pips of piety. It goes up gradually the more piety you gain. Cheibriados slows the effects of poison on you. That's nice. So it takes more poison, or like it's more difficult for you to get deadly poisoned. Um, you can bend time to slow others. This ability is very cheap. It doesn't seem to cost any time. Um, no, sorry, that's not it. Bend time, yeah, bend time does cost a turn, but very cheap in terms of piety, and it slows monsters. So you don't need to haste yourself if the monsters are slow. I I have not really used this a lot, but I can see it being really, really useful. Like in situations where you would otherwise want to haste yourself, you can instead slow the enemies and get rid of them like that. Um, it doesn't really work as an escape option because even while slowed, those enemies are going to be faster than you. So don't try to slow them and then run away because it's not going to work. You can slow them and kill them, which you shouldn't really have that many difficulties doing, considering that you're a worshipper of Cheibriados and you hit really hard. Um, you can warp the flow of time around you. What does this mean? It means that you can make it so that monsters walk towards you. You step. It's like a step from time, but it's only for like 4 or 5 turns. It's a very weird ability. but its main purpose is to make it so that monsters that are ranged are next to you. It's like drinking a potion of attraction without, you know, having it be active for so long. It's like a selective potion of attraction, like pulling everyone towards you. You know, lesser beckoning. Um, Pretty useful ability. It's not a defensive ability. Well, it kind of is, but it's not gonna save you. You use it at the beginning of a fight if you're like wandering in an empty level in early dungeon and you see a centaur or a centaur warrior and you're like, oh, I'm dead because I'm Cheibriados. But then you remember you have this and you use it, and then the centaur warrior is next to you and it's not gonna shoot you with his bow, and then you kill it super fast. That's how you use this. You can use it like that against pretty much everything that is similar to the center warrior that I just hypothetically described. Things like Yaktars, spellcasters, even Orbs of Fire later in the game. This is good. It's a good ability. So do remember using it. Mm, you can inflict damage on those overly hasty. This is a very infamous slouch ability that Cheibriados gives you. In my opinion, this is crazy expensive. It's really not spammable, but it can be strong. And if you have an excess of piety in Sot, you could theoretically consider spamming this to get rid of Orbs of Fire. Specifically for Orbs of Fire, it's really good because I don't think it checks anything. I don't think it checks willpower, or not willpower. I don't think it checks armor class. I think it just makes the monsters take damage, which scales with invocations, of course. So the more invocations you have, the more damaging this is going to be. And the faster the monsters are compared to you, the more damage they're gonna take. This blows bees into separate atoms, pretty much. It's pretty crazy. Mm, but using it against bees might be a bit of a waste. By the time by the time bees are still an issue, and you have this, you're probably not gonna be able to use it very well, and it's gonna be very pricey on piety. So it might not be worth it to use it on bees, but it is certainly worth it to use on Orbs of Fire. Um, and then the final ability is a step from time. The game says you can step out of the flow of time. What does this mean? It's like temporal distortion, which is the ability to warp the flow of time around you, but it lasts for a very long time. It lasts for long enough for monsters to forget about you. So if you are in a situation where you're kind of at danger, and you use this, there's a very good chance that unless you're sitting, I don't know, inside the Elf Vault or inside a Room Vault or in the Sod room, in the Orb of Sod room, you are not gonna have any monsters next to you by the time you come back to the flow of time. It's a really strong ability in that regard. Um, while you step from the flow of time, you do not expect to regen or anything if you have regen gear equipped. Because it doesn't work like that. You step out of the flow of time. The monsters are still in the flow of time and they do their thing, but you're just not doing your thing. It's like going into the future. It's really a powerful ability, very, very strong defensive option that I think Cheibriados worshippers really need because, you know, they cannot haste, so they need something. Um, but do keep in mind that you're still gonna be at roughly the same amount of well, not roughly, you're gonna be at exactly the same amount of HP that you were at when you left. If you were like deadly poisoned, you're still gonna be deadly poisoned when you come back and stuff. But yep, that's Cheibriados. I think that the most impactful aspect of Cheibriados is definitely the slowing of your movement speed. I cannot stress enough how bad it is. It's strong, but it is bad. I would recommend you to try it so you know what I'm talking about, so you experience it yourself. Um, but once you get going with Chevriels, it gets pretty strong. It's a pretty enjoyable experience in terms of power level once it gets going. Um, anyway, I would say that Cheibriados is too much of a bad thing for the good thing that it offers on almost any character. I would recommend it. I would not recommend it. But if you feel like you have to play Cheibriados for some reason, Null can be good of Cheibriados. Theoretically, an ogre that has already found like dragon skills. Ogre with gold scales early in the game would be an excellent Cheibriados worshipper. Ogre is not going to have that many issues reaching the spell or the strength, not requirement, but like the recommended amount of strength for gold scales to not completely nuke your evasion. Um, but the more strength you have, the less of a penalty on evasion gold skills are gonna have, and you're gonna hit harder, and you're gonna be able to cast the spells because plus 15 intelligence and 15 strength on gold scales. Even if they're not like the highest level spells, you can still cast level 4, level 5 spells in gold scales, thanks to Cheibriados as an ogre, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, Null also gets benefited by Cheibriados because Cheibriados, similar to Ashensari, lets you do whatever you want to do with those stats. Well, except for running or using, hasty weapons of speed. Cheibriados doesn't like that, so don't try to do that. Other than that, you can do whatever you want, and Cheibriados will support you. So yeah, do not go Chevriados on Formicid. I think that's very obvious because Formicid already doesn't have a way to escape. Um, doesn't have teleport, doesn't have haste, doesn't have blinking, doesn't have a lot of things that you normally would use to run away. It has legs. It doesn't move slower than other things, so you can run away from things once you start seeing the writing on the wall. Cheibriados deprives you of that option as well, so do not go Formicid of Cheibriados. I can guarantee that's not gonna be a good experience for you, unless you like dying in Crawl, in situations where you otherwise would have been able to survive very easily. If you like that, then by all means play Formicid of Cheibriados. But yeah, anyway, that's all I have to say about Cheibriados. The Wrath is not even worth talking about. Do not abandon gods unless it's Ignis. I'll talk specifically about Ignis Wrath when I get to Ignis Wrath because it's the only Wrath that really matters. The other ones, you're not gonna interact with them in a normal playthrough. Mm. Anyway, yep, as I said, I think that's it for me. I don't have much else to say. I hope that you have a nice rest of your weekend or whatever, and thank you for liking my content. And thank you to my supporters on Patreon, Anthony Emergence, Blink and Die, Dulos Ball, Inon, Grafophilia, and Fede. I appreciate you all for your generous contributions, and thank you for helping me do what I am doing. I hope that you enjoy my content. Yeah, thank you for your continued support once again.